Dave Birkett, Lions beat writer for the Detroit Free Press. What do you think of those odds? Now the expectation level just ramped up a little bit here, Dave.
Yeah, I like them, Dan. I walked away from that first day of the draft. I was taking my son to school the next day, and I told him maybe it's a little draft euphoria out of them getting a really good cornerback, but I think they might represent the NFC in the Super Bowl next year. A really complete roster, one of the best in the game, and really good coaching staff that develops some young players. So tougher schedule, but I like what they've done.
And they signed up their star players. I mean, Penny Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then we knew Goff was going to get paid, or at least we thought. What did you make of the contract that he got?
Yeah, $444 million to their three best players this offseason. Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penny Sewell, three pillars of what they hope to accomplish here. Plus, they re-signed Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes to extensions. So no real surprises keeping that group together. And look, the money for Goff, I don't think it's much of a surprise. Maybe I expected closer to $50 million, but the reality is the Lions would not be where they are without him. That trade that they made a couple years ago, Jared, he didn't play great when he came. The Lions weren't a great team that first year, but he's been really, really good since. And the Lions offense has been really, really good since. And without him, without that offensive line, without Amon-Ra St. Brown, I don't think this team is as high in those odds as you talked about earlier.
Yeah, I was just wondering that you look at Goff's contract, and he didn't have any leverage here, did he?
No, I mean, look, he was going to be entering the last year of his deal. This year was going to be the last year of his deal. But I think it was a situation from the Lions standpoint, like they've got a really good thing going right now. Why upset the apple cart? They wanted to get it done. As Brad Holmes said this week or last week, Jared is deserving of an extension. And certainly the way the cap has gone up, I don't think this money will hamstring him or hamstring them in terms of what they want to do in the future.
When's the last time the Lions had this kind of expectations?
Not in my lifetime. I mean, maybe 1991, 92, right? They were coming off that 1991 season. They made the NFC Championship game. Barry Sanders at the top of his game. They were certainly one of the best teams in the league that year. But you look at that offseason, they had lost Mike Utley the end of the season before. Eric Andolsek, another offensive lineman, died that offseason in a tragic accident outside his home. So there wasn't, I don't think any offseason has really, measured up to this one in terms of coming off a really good year and then seemingly taking the next step, at least doing the right things in the draft by locking up key players, even in free agency, Dan. They maybe they're a little thin at receiver, but look, they made an upgrade on the defensive line. When they signed DJ Reader, they stayed at least even on the offensive line when they added Kevin Zeitler to fill Jonah Jackson's shoes at guard. So really complete roster, good young guys that are still developing. I think this team is for good reason considered one of the best in the
NFL. Any worries about the Packers?
Yeah, look, the schedule is going to be tougher. They play a first-place schedule. The division is going to be tougher. I think the Bears are going to be better this year. Certainly the way Green Bay finished last year and the way Jordan Love has played in his first season as a starter. It's not going to be a cakewalk for the Lions. And, if you're looking at some of those odds and who represents the NFC in the Super Bowl, maybe the Lions are an 11th 13th division winner, and that prevents them from having the number one seed. So maybe that's something a wrench that could be thrown in the mix.
Dave, good to join us. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you once season gets started.
Got it, Dan. Anytime.
That's Dave Birkett, Lions beat writer, Detroit Free Press. The wind, he was outside, so just in case you were wondering, joining us from outside time.
Yeah, he's getting some work done inside his home. If anyone was interested in that.
Yeah.
Oh, like insulation? Do we have any details?
Yeah. Do we have is there a general contractor there?
I think there's a few people there. There's some trucks in the parking lot right in front of the house. Exterminator.
I thought he was joining us from Lions camp or something, or, outside the Lions building there. I thought, all right, I like this. And then I realized that there wasn't anything in the background other than suburbia.
Got a nice piece of land.
Yeah, he does.
If that's all his land, that's a few acres right there.
That's nice.